Greetings, fellow vintage ampaholics. Today's new acquisition is an early 1962 Fender 6G12-A concert amp in head form. Now don't go running to your price guides, okay, or writing strange comments, because I know this never existed in head form. It looks to me like somebody has taken a really nice concert amp chassis and installed it in what looks like a silver face basement cabinet. It fits perfectly, looks great, and just between you and me, I kind of prefer it this way because you can tote it around easily and plug it into your existing cabinets, and it works fine. You're not lugging around like 75 pounds of speakers and cabinet. So to me, this makes good sense. I think Fender should have done it. They didn't, but let's take a look at this one. Okay, let's take first a look at the outside. As you can see, it's obvious that this brown front chassis does not really belong in a black cabinet, but it sure fit, and like I said, it's very practical. For those of you not familiar with the Fender Concert, it's really quite an amp with a just splendid vibrato, as we will see in a little while. Really pretty ruby pilot light, a presence control, and this is going to be the vibrato channel. It has brown knobs. There's some little scratches on the knobs, but otherwise they're in great shape. And here's the normal or clean channel. Here's the grill cloth. You see it's kind of a bluish or slightly turquoise thread, which leads me to believe that this cabinet's probably from a silver front Fender chassis. Somebody, and you know, I don't hate them for this. Instead of getting regular chassis straps, they made aluminum straps on top with round head slotted screws. Wrong, but at least they tried. They didn't just grind some screws into the cabinet and destroy the Tolex and make big holes. I've already ordered the replacement chassis straps, and I'm going to get some of the right oval head Phillips screws. So don't fret, this will be fixed very soon. Got the original handle in really nice shape. All in all, the cabinet is really excellent. It has all its corner protectors intact. A little bit of loose Tolex right here, and some of the ubiquitous cigarette burns that we all know and love. But as you can see, a really nice cabinet. It's not right for the chassis, but if you're going to put a Fender Concert chassis into a cabinet, you could do a lot worse than putting it into this one. Let's turn it around and take a look at the back. Okay, here's the rear view, and you'll all be glad to know that it has the white paint spots that seem to be on every single amp I've ever seen. Once again, somebody, when they were painting the ceiling, they decided instead of drop cloths to set all their amplifiers out. Okay, other than that though, back looks really nice. There is no back door for this, which is sort of a mixed blessing because it allows the tubes to ventilate very well. I might actually make one because I think they look nice and they kind of protect the tubes from behind. We can see from the old days when they used the 2-wire power cord, how you could pick which one of the wires was ground to cut down on hum. This looks like a replacement fuse holder. Got our standby switch, cabinet speaker, external speaker. Those sweet words, Fender Electric Instrument Company, Fullerton, California, pre-CBS, good stuff. Vibrato pedal, and then for some reason somebody has, God love them, drilled a hole and put in an extra jack for a preamp. Okay, you know, you almost wish you could go back in time and talk them out of it. Okay, here we've got and this has 6 either 7025s or 12AX7s because it has the vibrato. All with the original tube shields. 2 new replacement 6L6s. You notice there is no rectifier here. It's cute because apparently this chassis could have gone either way. So they have a factory cover where the rectifier went. I believe it's a factory cover. And this has a solid state rectification like Bassman and other amps that use this configuration. Nice clean floor, 3-wire power cord. Okay, everything really nice and clean. Somebody took the time to tear the tube chart to pieces. It's just as well because probably wouldn't have worked for this chassis anyway. But there you have it. Let's pull the chassis and take a look. Okay, let's take a look at the schematic before we look at the chassis up close. If you're like me and you're not familiar with a Fender concert amp, this might be helpful. First of all, this amp offers a vibrato effect. And now vibrato is where you vary the frequency of the sound rather than just the volume of the sound. Varying the volume is tremolo. Vibrato sounds better, but as you'll see, it's hard to do. Now, this is the entire vibrato section up here. Look at this. There's a 7025, a 12AX7, half of a 12AX7, and a whole 7025. All of this is involved in the vibrato channel. The normal channel is down here using a single 7025 and then feeding into the 7025 phase inverter and then to the 5881 push-pull output tubes with grounded cathode. This amp output transformer, TR3, which is a 45249, prefers 4 8-ohm speakers in parallel for a total of 2 ohms output impedance like a Fender Bassman. We have solid state rectification down here as with the Bassman and other fairly high output amps. This gives you a higher B+ voltage, and it also pretty well eliminates the sag that you'll find in tube rectified amplifiers. To some people that's good, and to other people that's bad. To me, I don't think it makes that much difference. Okay, loads of capacitors. We'll see that when we look at the chassis itself. Okay, so there are a total of 8 tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we only use half of this 12AX7. But we still have to have it there. I hate that when they only use half. It just goes against my frugal nature to waste half a tube. Okay, now let's take a look at the actual chassis. Okay, here's the top of the chassis with the 6 small tubes here, a mixture of 12AX7s and 7025s. I was surprised to see they're all brand new tubes. They're either JJs or Electro-Harmonics tubes. We'll see how that works out. Under the cover here, somebody has sprung for brand new filter capacitors. These are the 20s at 500 volts, which is a good idea. Wall voltage now is a little higher than it was back in 1962, and your B+ can actually get up above 450, so you have to be careful, and using 500 volt rated capacitors is a real wise measure, I think, nowadays. Spring a few extra bucks for stouter capacitors. Next we'll move on to the output transformer. 125A9A, which is the correct output transformer for a 62 Fender Concert. It has 4.25K impedance on the tube side, and it wants to see 2 ohms of impedance from the speakers, which would probably be 4 8-ohm speakers in parallel. This is the very commonly seen filter choke in Fender amps, 125C1A. Looks like it's in good shape. Here's the output transformer. It's a 125P7A. Now, according to literature, it's supposed to be a P7D. But to further complicate things, both the P7A and the P7D are interchangeable with the 67233 transformer, so it would seem that they're equivalent. I don't know if it's original or not, but I will say that it has gotten really hot. When you see a transformer like this that has surface oxidation, it's been super hot, which is not a good thing. Okay, so something's going on here. It's flowing a little too much current, and look over here at these output tubes. They're both supposed to be 5881s. This is a 5881. This is a 6L6. Notice the bias values up here are completely different, which isn't a real good idea. So I'm going to change out on these tubes to where I get a pair of at least the same type of tube for output. Now, something else to observe. Look at the heat from these tubes. Look at that. It's sort of like forensic analysis when you look at an amp. It can tell you a lot. It's like a patient talking to the doctor. But the heat has been intense here. And I'm very suspicious of the bias of these output tubes, and definitely I'm going to check into it. If I alter it, I will let you know. We'll have a little session about how that was done. Okay, everything else looks pretty straightforward here. So let's flip it over and take a look underneath. Before we flip it over, I wanted to make special note of the fact that whoever did this recapping job did a first-class bit of work, because all brand new high-grade capacitors, and they replaced all the voltage-dropping resistors. Brand new high wattage carbon resistors. My hat's off to them. I think they did a real nice job here. Well, this is the end of part one of the two-part video featuring the Fender concert amp. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen. In part two, we're going to bias the amp, get it all back together, and see how it sounds. I hope you'll join me in part two. Thanks for your time and interest.